one. You!
Yeah! Welcome to Unsavory Fellow. My name is Nick James. I'm super excited today to announce my guest, who's my best friend and like the 9th biggest casting director in North America. I hope you enjoy the episode. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Love you. Hold on. We're not going to leave that in, this in.
Why not?
Because it's gross.
My wife.
It's funny.
Your wife's going to be like, ew. You're disgusting. I can't believe you did that on your
I
wife.
know. Is it all over my face again?
You want a napkin?
It's on your shirt.
I
Is there
never.
paper towels? There's
Yeah,
paper towels over there. Yeah.
Should we go back to casting or not?
Yes, that's why I'm here.
Okay.
Yeah, how'd you get into casting out of how does that start?
I went up to Vancouver in I think in '94 or something. It's been a while. I met my now ex-wife who was living up there in Vancouver, and I was just trying to scrape by acting jobs down here, and I went up there, and she was in the industry, and so I started trying to get these little acting jobs in Canada, and then she worked for a production company, and they'd be like, hey, can you help out with casting? So I'd be like a reader, and which was really interesting. I don't know.
I'm like, can we fucking talk about cocaine? The fuck is this? It's really interesting. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I never knew how he got into casting.
No,
Yeah.
this is good. No, I'm just saying in my own mind. I'm like fucking, because I know all this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Go on.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
our viewers are tens of millions.
I
of
know that,
viewers.
but I'm just being honest. In my mind, I was going,
You can't advertise having a casting director on and then only talk about when you
I
actually
know.
do cocaine.
I know.
I know
Yeah,
that.
thank you for keeping him on track. Thank you for keeping
Yeah.
him on track.
Go on.
Anyways, yeah, finally, my daughter was born, and it was beautiful seeing my daughter. No, okay, I won't. But then they asked me, "Do you want to cast this movie?" And I think I had made like $20,000 that year as an actor before taxes.
You
and before,
did?
Yeah, because I was getting jobs.
Oh, that's right.
And then I was like, but you boil that down, you make $20,000. You've actually made $10,000 that year for the year.
Well, and I mean,
But then, hang on.
oh, sorry.
So I kind of had this moment where I was like, you know, when you're an actor, you're just like waiting. You're just like waiting for your agent to call you, waiting to get an audition,
So lame.
waiting and you want to work. Like I needed to work. So then I was like, yeah, I'll do it. You know, they were like, we'll pay you this amount of money to do this movie. I was like,
How
yes.
much was it? Do you remember?
I think it was $6,000.
Which is a lot back then.
Oh
For
my
you and
gosh.
you
I
had no
was
money.
like, yes, I'll do it. And I did it, and I loved it instantly.
You did.
And I think all that experience of, you know, auditioning myself and doing all that stuff, and then the actors coming in and being able to kind of, you know, give them notes and do different things and stuff. I just loved it right away. I was like,
Did you when they would come in, you know, like did that help you? Like what I always want to when you're coming in, when you and I are actors, you're going on auditions, whatever, when you're young, you don't have a fucking clue, right? Did you use anything from that did you bring in what you took as an actor auditioning into your casting session? Did it help you?
well, I
You know
didn't.
what I'm saying?
My
The
whole thing is like,
direction.
I don't power trip. You know, I mean,
Oh, I don't power trip. what a big word.
I was trying to think of what was that word you used today at the beach?
I did use a big word.
I called him out. I called him out.
You know why we grew
Stiff. You were stiff, but what'd you say?
No, I know, not stiff. I atrophied. My back atrophied.
I'm like, ooh, atrophy. Ooh, God.
But we were so bad when we were kids. if you used a word that was outside of your, it's almost like we made fun of you if you were smart. So you couldn't use a word that was too big.
Yeah, you couldn't use a big
outside
word.
of your. He used amorous last year.
Yeah, I go, oh,
Right? I go,
feeling-
oh my God, I'm so amorous. Big word. What an idiot.
Yeah.
No, but go on. But you know what I'm saying, though? Did you take
yeah.
that into casting?
Well, I just took how my experience, well, when I first started casting, I would spend all day seeing actors and I would be exhausted because you're just trying to give them energy and they're coming in with nervous energy and it's infectious. And I remember just driving home being like, oh my God, I'm exhausted.
How'd you handle that? How did you get out of
Just
that?
over time, you have to just provide the space and the direction and let them do what they're going to do.
Because, and the clients, you've got to prove yourself by finding what they're looking for, right?
Yeah, and I think
Good
I had
actors.
and I think I had a good eye with some people, and I think I knew. But really, there's actors that come in and like, you will know right away. Some actors, there's a few actors out there now where they would come in and you go, this person's gonna be a star.
Like me.
No, that did not happen. No,
No, I know.
no.
I know.
You're gonna be a star. We're getting there.
I'm in my 60s.
I know. We're getting there. We're getting there.
We've gotten there. This is it.
No,
I'm
no.
back to YouTube.
No.
Fucking back to YouTube.
But no, and I think it's just what I liked about it is I would just get up and go to work every day. I just wanted to work every day and just have purpose and like, every day I went to work, I got paid. And as an actor, that's not the case.
No, it's not.
So that was really plus my daughter was born, so I was just like, oh my gosh, I need to, keep her going.
But
So-
I'll say something that I know about you and it's watching you work, because I've helped you on these castings when I'd go visit you and stuff. You have such which I think is that for me as an actor, I'm super vulnerable, right? And I'm overly sensitive and I want to get it right and perfect. And like you said, you create that space, but you also are so giving and comfortable, and you take all the fear out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Even when I read with you for parts and stuff, I
Yeah.
want to have you read with me because there's no pressure, and you give the actors like confidence, like be yourself. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, and I meant power
We want
tripping
you to
earlier
succeed, right?
because I want them to come in and do the best job that they can do. I can't control that, but I have certain things that I can, provide and set up because if they do a good job, then it reflects well on me, and then I'm done with that project and I'm moving on to the next project. If I'm stressing people out and I've auditioned for some interesting casting directors. When I was younger, and I was just like, ooh, I don't get that approach. Like that's counterproductive. I want to be nice to people, but not, enable them and just be like, listen, we're not curing cancer here. We're just reading. Like,
Yeah.
let's just
Right.
keep things in perspective, And then because of that, you hopefully get better reads and get better perform. But, sometimes that people come in and they're already completely psyched out,
Oh,
and that's happened, and I've watched stuff, and
I've watched it happen to you.
yeah, but we're not going to talk about that. We're going to
not
talk
gonna go to
about
that?
casting.
Not
Okay,
auditioning.
no,
not
we're
him.
talking about casting. Right? Golly, already stay the course.
I know.
But yeah, and so I think that's super, helpful. I don't know. And then, I switched to commercials like 18 years ago or something.
I'll tell you what you said to me you told me this a long time ago, and I remembered it. And I forget what it was something I was auditioning for, and it was a big deal to me as always. Oh, I got to get it. And I think in your mind, when you're a young actor, you think if I get this, there's going to be this domino effect. And once I get this, then I'm going to get the next one, and I'm going to get the next one. And you're not present in here. And you said something to me. You go, maybe it's not this one. Go in and audition for this one, but you know what you're auditioning, it might not be for this one. It might be for the next one. You're auditioning for the casting director. You might not be right for this one, but if you do a good job, and you're professional, they're going to remember you and want to bring you in on their next one.
Right. Yeah, because actors, you never know why you don't book something. There's so many factors into that.
Right.
And you'll never know. So, like, to just wonder and try to create story of why you didn't get it is, but I think it's important that you just got to stay. Actors can focus on, when you come into audition, man, just know the lines to your best of your ability, be super clear, be super friendly, whatever, and know what your objectives are and know what you want to do. If you know that, you're leaps and bounds ahead of most of the people that are coming in.
It's funny. You said, I make jokes about that all the time, but you said, and I'm being honest, and when you just said be super friendly, I used to I joked about the casting couch, right? And I would love to make those jokes because it's a reality. But I used to think, and I was willing, if there was a way, I didn't understand that friendly. I always thought that, this is all part of the game. If I could get in here and do this.
What, weird stuff?
Yeah. I was willing to do that, and I was young. But I was so naive. I had no idea. This is in the 80s, right? I didn't know. And that shit was going on a lot. Wasn't it?
I never experienced any of that.
Well, I did.
Yeah. Well, you were on a different path.
I was completely, and I think, and I remember being on a commercial with this actor one time, and I remember, we were older now, and I remember talking to this guy, and he was an extra, and he was gonna go. He had told me he was so excited. Did I tell you this already?
No, but
what are you thinking of? You tell me. You got something better than I got.
The
what
extra
do you got?
that was reading the lines or something out loud, or I was trying to remember that story. But anyways, go ahead.
Well, anyway, this guy, I remember how I saw myself in this guy. He came up to me and he was an extra. And it was just a commercial. It wasn't a movie. I was playing a singing and dancing chef for the Rio Casino in Vegas. It was embarrassing, you know. And he came up to talk to me about it. And he said, "Oh, you're an actor." And he goes, "Oh, I just signed up." And he signed up to take classes at the Church of Scientology.
Oh, wow.
And I go, I don't know anything about that. And I go, great, And then he told me, I gave him $5,000.
Oh, man.
And I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. He doesn't have $5,000.
Yeah, that's tough.
But it was like me. I saw myself going, I would have done anything.
Yeah.
If I could get to the front of the line.
Yeah, there was an agency in the 80s that was advertising on TV, and I talked to my grandmother into driving me down there to meet with the agent. And I went in, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, you are incredible." And I was like, "I am?"
All right.
I was like, "Oh my gosh." And I came down, I'm like, they love me. They think I'm great.
Finally.
I've been taking acting classes
Yes.
and doing little plays. And then, as I was leaving, they're like, what you need to do is you have to use our photographer, and the headshots and everything are $1,200. I was like, that was like $5,000.
Yeah.
I was like, what? And then it just kind of slowly sunk in. It was like just a scam.
Yeah.
Which
it is. You're preying
to sell
on,
headshots.
naive people that get off that bus.
Yeah.
I remember taking them. The story I remember being not knowing how acting worked, and I ditched school. I wasn't even 16 because I didn't drive. I ditched school, hopped on a bus. I heard that the Screen Actors Guild was downtown somewhere in Hollywood. I rode a bus, got off the bus. I went to the Screen Actors Guild, which I think it was on Sunset at the time. And I walked up, and the woman goes, "Can I help you?" And I go, "Yeah, I'm here to be an actor."
Wow. They must get that all the time.
And she goes, "What?" And she goes, "He's here to be an actor." Everybody fucking laughed.
Wow.
And I just stood here, and she goes, "Honey," she goes, "you're not at the right place." She goes, "This is after your neck. This is a union." And I didn't even know what a union was.
Right.
And I was so humiliated. I turned around, fucking hopped on the bus, and went back home. I never tell anybody.
Yeah, of course.
But I was always going the wrong way. It was hard to find people that would not take advantage of you when you're young. You know what I mean? I mean, my fault was I'm looking to cut corners, obviously. I mean, absolutely. But it's hard. There was people that would,
Yeah.
tell you could be like you. You could be a star. You're a model. You're looking for that.
Oh, yeah.
We're waiting for someone to tell you that.
Yeah, I remember we got headshots. Remember, and then you'd take him to the printing place,
Yes.
and they would like put little dots of white in your eyes, so your eyes would pop. This is before
Well, I remember
computers.
you and I had auditions for something, and you had the idea. I remember laying out in your apartment of your grandparents on the patio, trying to get tan, and you had us cover our eyes with stuff. And I go, "Why are we doing this?" And you go, "So your eyes pop for
That's
the
right.
audition." That's what you told me. And I go, "Oh, that's so."
true,
I'm like
and that's
listening
true.
to him.
Everybody should do that.
But you know, you're all sunburned. You got these fucking white circles.
God, what happened?
You called them raccoon eyes or something?
Yeah.
You go, "You want raccoon eyes."
Yeah. Yeah, so your eyes pop.
And you know, to be honest, maybe I was doing that for a long time.
Right?
Because it kind of works. You know?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. If you can't act, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Right?
Yeah, no, you got to work at it, you know? And I do workshops and I do stuff, you know. And, you know, I just tell people, like, if you're acting because you love to act, then just act. You know, and do whatever you can. Do plays, do, you know, whatever, short films, whatever. And just get out there and just do it because you love it. And don't worry about, you know, surviving and, you know, or trying to be famous or anything. You know, that's just unrealistic, you know. Really, it's like less than 1% of people become famous, you know. It's not about that.
No, it's terrible.
But yeah, but I mean, I've cast like Ryan Gosling.
I was just going to ask you, who's the most famous person you've cast?
Ryan Gosling.
Who else?
Ryan Reynolds.
Yes.
You know, nice, super nice.
You ever cast me?
Yeah,
Really?
I cast. Yes, remember?
When?
Everything you shot in Vancouver was because of me.
But you didn't cast it. You were in the fucking movie. You weren't the casting director.
No, I know, but I manipulated it so I
That's
could
true.
bring my best friend to Canada to be in the movie. It's bank robber number 3.
Technician number 2.
I was just up in Canada by myself. And all my friends in LA, they're like, "What happened to you?" I'm like, "I don't know. I'm in Canada now."
Dude.
He's like, "You just disappeared." He used to get so mad at me. "You just took off, dude. You just took off." I'm like, "I'm trying to make a life for myself."
And I was jealous. You know, I was jealous. I was upset that my best friend left for Canada. And not only did you leave, but you went and you married a gal who's a producer. And all of a sudden, you're living. I remember you called me and you go, "I can't believe you're on the set of a movie." He was in the movie and he goes, "I can't believe it's finally happening."
I don't remember that.
And I remember being like, "Fuck you, man. It's not happening for me."
Who's you? Bye, I gotta go. Click.
Right?
I don't remember that. But
Right?
yeah.
And what happened?
Okay. Now we're here. And
Fucking garage.
you got your own podcast. Look at you.
Yeah.
You're on the way up, dude.
It's your own. Like, you got to do something. Like, fucking created it.
Things are looking good.
Like I've always done. Just create it. Fuck it. I'm going to do it myself.
And you went with the Chinese theme. Is this the Chinese?
Chinese?
Isn't this all Chinese?
Well,
stuff?
my wife's Chinese.
Leave that in.
My wife's Japanese.
I know.
American.
No, I
She's
know.
from Venice.
We went with the Hawaiian theme. Look at us. See, there's a picture of us right there.
That's us.
Yeah.
That's when we're sober, though.
This is my favorite.
I'm not sober there.
No, you're not. No.
But we're sober here.
Yeah, no, we are. Look handsome. Ah, the good old days.
We didn't get to get into Gladstones.
Yeah, we can. Let's get into Gladstone.
How much time do we have?
You're at 45.
It's your show.
That's true. It is my show. It's our show. But anyway, let's keep going on with this.
What?
Gladstone.
You want to get into Gladstones?
Yeah, you didn't do it last time.
Yeah. Yeah, Gladstone's valet parking there was. Then just one day I showed up and like everybody was Brazilian.
Well, it started with one guy.
Right.
Because I started there when I was 18.
I was probably.
So you were how old?
16.
When I was 18, you were how old?
I just got my driver's license.
But
You
you
like
weren't
pull
working,
up that Ferrari. I
You
was
weren't
like,
working
yeah, no
there.
problem.
And when I was 18, you weren't there yet.
Oh, okay, yeah, I must have been like
So at that time, first of all, it was a huge parking lot on the fucking beach, and Gladstone's was the spot. And like we mentioned, all those stars they would come in there.
So packed.
And it was like the place to go, right? On the fucking beach at the end of sunset.
Yeah, no, it was.
And you're
great.
and you're making great money. Right?
It was $1.50 to park, and you had to turn in all your tips.
You had to turn in your tips.
So, and a guy would stand there and like collect your tips, and then we had this system where
you'd ransack the cars with quarters. So you have.
First of all, never valet park your car. We should say that. Never valet.
Right.
I'm always freaked when I'm valet because karma's. But you're just a kid. So you just get in that car and you're just like visors, middle.
There's a system. You got it's $2 to park. It's $1.50 to park, and people would come in, and you knew the old people that would come in the Cadillacs. They always had ashtrays filled with quarters, and so you would try and find as many quarters as you can and pack your pockets, and you'd be running.
Yes.
And the manager would try and catch you. The manager wouldn't let you steal because if you stole, he couldn't steal. And so the boss above him would try and stop him from stealing because they wouldn't let us keep our tips.
So yeah, it's $1.50 to park. People would hand you $3,
$2,
or $2. You'd put $1 in your other pocket quickly.
You'd have 50 cents in your
hand, and you'd hand in the $1.50, and the guy and the manager always be like, "He didn't tip." You go, "Nope," and you just keep running. You make 50 cents on that car, and then you go get another car. And
it was called fingering. And it was.
Yeah.
And there was guys that were really fucking, I was like the best fingering. I worked there the longest. I mean, I prided myself on being fucking like this exceptional thief. And so I'd load my pockets, and the way you did it, if he's the manager, you'd have your 50 cents in your hand, you pull the car up between me and him so he can't see you finger, and the people would get out, and you got one eye on him the whole time. You're looking like this, right? And they hand you the $2. You quickly, like you said, slip $1 in your pocket. The card pulls away and you hand him. And then he says, "No tip." You run off and get another one. And you could make.
We made so much money.
We were making over $60,000 a year cash, parking cars on the beach, and fucking high as a kite. Right?
And broke.
Because. Why?
I remember they.
Yeah, why were we broke all the time? We made all
because
that
we were
fucking
partying
money.
so much. We just laid out every single night at nightclub.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
I never thought of that.
Yeah, that's all. Every single night we were putting it back into the system.
It was incredible though, because I mean, what a fantasy! And we're driving Ferraris, Porsches. I used to take the Ferraris and the Porsches fucking off the lot. Get everybody's Jack in the Box order. I would go up Sunset up to Jack in the Box, rip through, and I'd be waiting at the light in like a Porsche or a Ferrari, and I'd flip the lights like this, like look at me in this Ferrari across with bags of fast food. I'd rip through, give everyone their fast food, and then take off up Sunset, flying.
Oh man,
with
there's
Chuck.
so many things.
Chuck Clayton.
There. Remember that guy? I wasn't there that night, but the guy came. All the keys hung in this.
Oh, Paulo Pica.
Board. Yeah, and he grabbed
Brazilian.
all the keys and he threw them in the ocean.
Oh no!
What was that?
That was me. That was me and Phil S.
You threw the keys in the ocean? I didn't know that.
I did. It was me and Phil S. Now you're thinking of Paulo Pica when Paulo Pica was on acid, stuck in the box, and he thought all the keys were spiders. And
I don't remember that.
Yeah, me and Phil threw the keys. Phil started, and once that starts, you kind of jump in when you're.
Man, and people come out to get their car, and they're like, "All your keys are gone."
I shouldn't even have
They're in the
submitted to
ocean.
that.
We're gonna try to find them for you. And they had to bring in locksmiths and just to.
But Phil did it because he was pissed, because he kept getting busted for stealing, and he thought it was bullshit. And dude, we all know the system. This is what you do. We steal. They're trying to steal. Stop us from stealing. It's an unspoken thing, right?
Yeah.
And we're making a lot of money. You got.
Why did you end up throwing keys in?
because he was doing it. I know, it's terrible. But I walk, we were talking first, and he was complaining to me about Dennis, who was the manager. He was the owner's nephew. And he was fucking Dennis, a fucking asshole. He's fucking threatening to fire me because I'm getting caught. And he's, and I'm like, dude, whatever, I goes, you're getting busted, He goes, fuck, he goes, you watch this. I go, what? He goes, I'm going to make his fucking life a living hell. And it would be so packed to come in, right? There'd be a line in the left-hand turn lane on PCH where we'd have to wave people off, 700 cars, packed lot going, there's no more room. And there's already people waiting an hour to get their car parked. And they'd leave their car. We'd say, leave your keys. And they'd go in the restaurant, right? And Phil goes, watch this. He goes, fuck Dennis. And he grabs these keys and he just starts throwing them in the ocean. And I'm like, yeah. And I go nuts. I mean, we're high. We're always drunk and high. That has a lot to do with it. And I just start grabbing keys with him like a crazy monkey. And we just wanted to see chaos ensue. And then all of a sudden, everybody came out.
You're like, that was wonderful. What a beautiful. Did you like
Dude,
your lobster?
it was so fucked. And I feel terrible. I wish I didn't even admit to doing that.
Sorry, but your keys are gone. Your car's here, but you have no house keys, no keys to your...
No.
Everything's gone.
And you know why I did it too? Partially, to, I come to think of the story, which is a terrible thing to do. And it's not funny. But I was so... I was so fucking mad and jealous. First of all, I was a complete scumbag. Like I said, I was the best fingerer on the lot. I stole everything. But you know why? I was really...
I'm going to make a t-shirt that says I was the best finger at the lot.
But I was so upset because Tor, our friend Tor, the Norwegian guy, he was getting promoted. And I started before him. And I worked there longer than anybody. And if you got promoted to manager, which he did, that meant that you collected the money from the guys parking the cars. And they didn't trust me, of course. And so everybody kept getting promoted ahead of me.
I remember you just going, why?
Oh.
Why am I not getting promoted?
Oh, it was so, to manager.
Why am I? Throw the keys in the ocean.
But it's true, and that's why. And I was like, fuck them. And they would fire me, and they would always hire me back. And I was a terrible person. And then I'll tell you this. One time I finally got promoted, Tor quit.
I remember that.
Partially, and it was when I punched him in the face by accident. That was Dylan knows this. It was a spinning back fist.
Yeah.
I'm fucked up. I'm in the parking lot. I'm fucking around. Tor's like, and you and I wanted to go to a club. And we're like, we would want to get out of there early, right? So I go, let us leave. We're going to leave at 11. We had our money. We already stole as much money as we needed. And we needed to be out. He goes, no, you can't leave. There's still 100 cars that need to come up when people leave. And we're like, we're leaving. We're leaving. And then he was going, no. And then I started throwing these fake punches, trying to aggravate him, going, we're leaving. You're not going to do shit about it. We're fucking leaving. And I was getting close as I can to his face. And he's ignoring me. I'm going, what's the matter? What's the matter? What's the matter? Finally, I go, watch this, spinning back fist. And I spin around, and I want to just go graze him, and instead it goes, whack! And his fucking nose just explodes.
Oh,
broken nose. He takes the tickets,
Oh, wow.
and he throws them up in the air, and he goes, I quit! Right? And he left with the
man.
bloody nose.
We tortured that guy.
And then him and I are doing coke for days. This is after. In my apartment, and we had, answering machines back then. And then Dennis leaves a message. We're all coked and he goes, Nick, I need you to come to work today. Listen, I'm going to promote you to manager tonight. Right?
Yeah, you were
And I
so
go,
excited.
yes!
I made it.
I made it. And you got a special sweatshirt if you got promoted to manager, which had the Gladstone's logo right here. It was embroidered.
Right.
Oh, man, I got my red sweatshirt. I still have it. And then I went that night as my first night as manager. And people came out looking for there were 4 people left. And they go, "Where's our car?" And there's no cars left on the lot. And I go, "What do you mean?" I go, "We gave it." I go, "Your car." And 4 people came out, and all 4 of them got their cars stolen on my shift. On my first shift as manager, 4 cars got stolen, and I was fucking fired. Fucking fired. Not from a manager, fucking fired. But they hired me back.
Yeah. Yeah, that was crazy.
It was great. I
Yeah.
mean, that was like
it's
the
great
best
to-
time in the world.
It was fun. And I think you look back, but then, you think like, oh gosh, like anything, like we were waiters together. You were the bartender. I was the waiter. We'd have all week off to play beach volleyball.
What about when we worked at...
Yeah, that was bad.
So then we got fired from Gladstone's.
Yeah.
He likes to get into the sobriety. I like to stay in the fucking... Right? But then he gets this job. We both get fired from Gladstone's, and you get this job as a cocktail server. And I thought, well, maybe fuck it. Maybe we should get a...
Cocktail server.
Yeah, that's what you did at...
I was a waiter.
Whatever, same thing.
Cocktail server with a dress and a
Fucking high heels.
cocktail server.
No, okay, waiter. And he gets a
You're
job.
so amorous.
Oh, come on.
Look at you using big words again. Cocktail waiter. Cocktail server.
Oh, man.
We're in the 60s. Is Frank Sinatra there?
So anyway, he gets this job at this fucking restaurant, right? And he says it's this great fucking job, and we go in.
We're not talking about casting anymore.
No, we're off. We're back. We're done with that.
Okay. All right.
Nobody gave us good questions anyway. I had to do the questions in Easy and Dylan. Anyway, so he gets this job. He's, dude, I got this great job. Right away, they fucking hire me as a waiter as well. And the first thing they show up for the shift today, Sean tells me, he goes, this place, they give you all the Coke you want. And I was like, what? So as soon as we get in, the first thing he says to me, or the bartender, or no, it was the manager. He goes, Nick, you're the new guy. And I go, yeah. He goes, it's all set for you in the bathroom. Right?
Yeah.
Before you start, you go in the bathroom, and on the toilet paper dispenser, these fucking lines as big as your fingers laid out, right? What a way to start. And this is how everyone started their shift, right?
Yeah, it was out of control.
I mean, everybody. Because they were selling Coke. We'll cut the name of the restaurant. But they were selling Coke out of the back of the restaurant. It was a high-end, very expensive restaurant. And so you would start the day, and you'd fucking snort these big fucking lines of Coke, and then you'd go to work, right? And you're pinning out, and you're fucking going crazy. And then they could tell. It's like the bartender would go, okay, you're all set up in the bathroom. You'd go in there again, right?
Yeah.
He's all going down, thinking about it. Can't even talk.
I gotta go to the bathroom. No, yeah, you'd walk in and the bartender had a Greyhound waiting for me right there. So
You'd have drinks?
You'd walk in, you'd grab a cocktail, go in. But there was a waiter there, a super arrogant guy, annoying.
Oh,
And
he's
he was
arrogant.
always super pinned out.
Who was that? Oh, we can't say his name.
No.
I know who he is.
And he had this big table with some, legendary dancer in the back, private room. And I went and, helped him bring in the food. And the legendary dancer, I won't say his name, but grabbed me and said, hey, listen, our waiter is super high on Coke.
Well, you can say his name. He's not doing it.
Gregory Hines.
Gregory Hines!
Yeah.
I knew it was him. When you said that, I knew it was him.
Yeah. and he's
Legendary
like-
dancer in the 80s?
He goes, can you be our waiter? Because he's really, and I was already pinned out of my head. I go, he is? Oh my gosh, that's terrible. Of course I will take care of you. And then I went and told him, I was like, dude, you're out. You're out. He was like, and he was so arrogant. And I was just like, dude, they don't want you. Don't go back in there. Do not. You should probably go home. I'm going to take over and get this tip.
And what was amazing too, right? Because at the end of the week, when you get your paycheck, the manager, who was the dealer,
Oh yeah.
he would ask us, we were just these young kids, all coked out of our minds, constantly drug addicts, and he would say, "What do you guys want?"
Who's sober now? We are sober now.
Yeah, we'll get to that. And he'd go, "What do you guys want?" He goes, "You want your paychecks? You want to be paid with your paychecks, or do you want coke?" And we'd look at each other.
We would always be like, "What do you think? We could probably do a little and then sell some, and we'd actually make more money than our paycheck." So yeah, we'll take the coke.
Fucking every week.
The next night, we're broke. We have nothing.
It's gone.
Didn't
We'd
sell
buy the
anything.
coke. I mean, we'd snort the coke, and then be broke. And we'd have to eat at the restaurant because we didn't have any money for food.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because we were making so much money at Gladstone's too. And I remember this. Like you said,
Well, they cut the power off to your house.
they would cut the power off. I was making $60,000 a year with you, parking cars, cash, not paying taxes
In the 80s.
in the 80s. And I'd bring a girl back to the apartment that I met, trying to be all suave, and I'd go to flip the lights on, and there's no power. Because I couldn't pay the bill. I had no money to pay the bill because we would blow the money. It didn't matter if it was $400. It was gone that night.
Yeah.
And
Let's
I
go
didn't-
back to casting.
Dude, I was swapping my...
So depressing.
Well, that's what happened. It wasn't long after we were working at this restaurant that I remember that was the first time I go, dude, we got to quit this place. I was like, this is going to kill us. I thought like,
Yeah, thank God the marshals came in and shut it down.
he shut it down.
Yeah, and so you go to work and the marshals would be there. Like any money they made, the marshals took.
Yeah.
And then it was like, "Are you guys going to stay open for a while?" And they're like,
And then you got sober right after that, pretty much.
"Yes." Oh, finally, there we go.
Let's get
Took
let's get
55
sober.
minutes. Yeah,
We can get sober now.
yeah. Then I cleaned up. It's
How did that happen? Because
20.
that's
21 initially.
talk about that.
Okay.
I'm gonna bring it down now.
Yeah.
No. No, talk about that seriously. That's like
Just got sick and tired of being sick and tired of being sick and tired. Just stopped working. Yeah. But my mom had got sober when I was 16, so I knew about all that stuff. And I was just like, "Oh, you got sober." I was like, "Good for you." Gosh, you were a mess. Like, unbelievable. Thank goodness, And I was just Nick and I were just already on our trajectory. My mom worked for the police department. And so she thought Nick was going back to. She thought Nick was a drug dealer. I wish. That would have been great.
I tried.
And then she would always threaten to call the police and have them come raid your house. Thank God she never did.
No, I told you the other day.
Oh, yeah, you did say that. That's
No.
right.
Cop
She
came
did?
to my, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
did. She did do that.
She did do it.
Yeah.
Fucking early in the morning, man. I didn't ever even went to sleep, and there was a fucking knock at my door, and I look out, and there was a cop standing there. And he goes, "Are you?" Yeah, oh yeah. She sent him.
She did.
She did.
She denied that for years.
I know. She blamed me for years for your drug addiction too, until recently.
Yeah.
She said it was my fault.
Well, I think it was.
I mean, listen, I have a part in it. I was the older kid, but
You're the older guy that would always go, "Come on. Come on, man. We can get new jobs. We'll quit. We quit. Let's quit right now. We quit. We just quit our jobs. We're okay."
right?
Yeah.
I was always the optimist.
And I was just like, "Oh my gosh, this is terrible. We can't do that." But
Anyway, go on though.
yeah, then I just kind of bottomed out in finally in 1989. And
Tell that story because that
Which
ties in
one?
the neighborhood playhouse. You went to the.
oh yeah, I
that
went
goes
to the,
back to what we were
yeah,
talking
yeah.
about.
I was at the neighborhood playhouse, and just New York at that time was not gentrified like it is now. It was the wild, wild west, and crack was an epidemic, and it was just like wild. I was just like coming from a very policed state as California is to going to New York in the 80s. It was like anything goes there.
Yeah.
Like Times Square was crazy and weird and dirty, and people, the crack epidemic had exploded, and people were smoking crack everywhere, and it was just like,
And you're trying
And
to be an
then the-
actor.
yeah, and then the nightlife and the clubs and Limelight and all these and models, and it was just like, oh my gosh, you can just do any. I saw somebody walking down the street drinking a Corona, and I was like, you can just do that here? I go, I'm gonna do that.
Could you? Then?
Yes,
you could.
Yeah, it was just the Wild West, and then.
But you're going because I don't want to skip over this. You were going to acting class at the neighborhood playhouse, Sandy Meisner, like every day. You made it. You got into this school. This was a big deal.
Oh yeah, no, I loved it. And then
it was a big deal to get in.
But I got pneumonia right before school started.
Right.
Drinking related, and I ended up in the hospital for like 5 days in New York. I missed like the first 2 days of school, and I got out of that hospital finally, and I was like, I gotta clean up my act. Like, this is terrible. And I remember walking home, and I walked by this park, and I saw the guardian angels there, and
which was explained because some people that are young, do
Yeah,
you know who the guardian angels are?
it's this vigilante group that basically was fighting back against all the crack dealers and crime.
Volunteers in the 80s, young
Yeah.
guys like you.
And they would wear these red berets, and they'd have these red jackets, and they'd go into these parks, these concrete parks, and they would,
They were rats,
they
basically.
would kick out snitches. And they would
No, they weren't.
They would kick. No, they're great, and they're still around. Actually, I just saw them. And
I shouldn't have said that. Are they?
Huh? Yeah, they are.
I didn't know that.
No, they're good. They're a good organization.
Yeah, that is good.
Yeah, and I like. See, growing up, I was always like my grandparents were police officers and a detective. My grandfather was a detective. My mom worked at the police department, so I thought, I'm just gonna become a cop. If this acting thing doesn't work out. Anyways, and so I've always had that like good and evil, like struggle, and so I saw the guardian angel this guy, and I flagged him down. I was like, "How do you become a guardian angel?" He's like, "Hey man, you come down on Tuesdays, and here's the address, and we do training, and we'd love to have you." And I was like, "Yes." And I was still weak from the hospital, but I was like, I gotta do something different. I don't know what it is. And then, like, within, like, 6 weeks, I was, like, trying to sell my Walkman in this park for a crack pipe. And the guardian angels came in, and I was like, I hate these guys, Like, I never went to the thing, and I just bottomed out. And the cops came in, and I was like, just arrest me. I'm so tired. I was just so tired. And it wasn't a party anymore. It was just, I was done. And they arrested everyone around me, but not me.
You didn't, yeah.
And I was like at a point where like I need help.
But you weren't surrendered yet, because you talked about the cab ride. Can you get into the cab ride?
Oh yeah. So then I went on one more big run, and I ended up in the Bronx with this woman and her dad, and it was just horrible. And it was winter, and I've been up for 3 days, and I had this boom box with me. I don't know why, and this girl, and we're so out of our minds. She's like, try to find I want to hear that song. And I was like, what song? And she's named the song. She's like, I want to find it. So she was just on the radio.
You're just tweaking out.
Going back and forth, trying to wait until her song came on. I remember watching that and just going, what has happened to my life?
Wow.
And so I finally escaped this place in the Bronx, and I flagged down this independent cab, which wasn't a cab. It was like Uber before Uber. It was just this guy's car. And
right.
They would give you rides, and you'd pay them. And I had no money. It was, probably 3 a.m. And I get in this guy's car, and I'm just like, I just got to get back to Manhattan. And I tell him I need to get back to Manhattan. He's like, it's going to be, I think, $20 or something. And I was like, yeah, no problem. I had no money. And my plan was to just like, get a block from my house and then smash the guy over the head with my boombox and run. I mean, I'm not a violent person, and that's the best thinking I could think of at that moment. And so I'm in the back of this car, and I'm like wrapping the cord around the handle, and he's like, hey, how are you? And I'm like, oh gosh, don't talk to me,
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm fine. But that was like the nicest thing anybody had said to me in 3 days, and I was like, and then I look and I see in his rearview mirror, he's got pictures of his kids. And I was like, don't look at the kids. And I'm like about to do this act that I so not me. And he just starts talking to me, and he's super nice. And we just have this conversation, and I get to be like 2 blocks from my house. And I'm like, you know what? I don't have my money, but I'm gonna leave this boom box, and I'll be right back and give you the money. I'll leave this for collateral. And he's like, yeah, no problem. We're friends now. And I just took off, and I ran and went into my apartment. And at that time, my roommate had a gun, and I was like, I gotta kill myself.
Wow.
Like, this is it. I gotta end it. Like, this is terrible. Everybody knows now.
Everybody knows.
I always thought like I was slick, and it could hide, but it was just bad. So I went and looked for the gun, and it was gone, thank God. And then I just called my mom, like any tough guy.
Who was sober?
Tough guy. I called
Right?
my mom. Mm-hmm.
How long was she sober?
She was
by then?
sober like 4 years.
Yeah.
So I was like, I need to come home. She's like, I've been waiting for this call. And she got me on a plane the next day, and I had a rum and coke on the plane just to calm my nerves. And the next morning, she took me into Brotman Hospital. And I remember like going into Brotman Hospital, and I had no idea what was going to happen. I just knew I was just sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I went up to the 4th floor, and the elevator doors opened, and I stepped out of that elevator, and I had this overwhelming sense of relief, like I was safe.
Yeah.
And I just remember that, and I didn't know what it was or what was happening. And I went to meet the director, and he was like, so what have you been doing? And I'm like, and I was like yellow, and I was a mess. And he's like, yeah, you qualify, and we have a bed for you. And I was like, whew, just like time out. And then I stayed sober for 21 days. I felt amazing. 3 weeks is like, we're going 7 nights a week, and now I've just done 3 weeks with nothing.
Yeah.
And I felt like more clear-headed, and I felt better, and like the fog was lifting a little bit. And I went to this nightclub with my buddy Barry, and just had this overwhelming sense of urge to drink. Like I thought I would be fine. And I left, and I went down the street to the liquor store and got a 6-pack of Corona, drank 3 Coronas, and went back into the club. And he's like, dude, what are you doing? And I was like, I drank. And he's like, isn't that bad? Aren't you living in like a sober living? And I was like, yeah, but anyways. And then, but I came right back. I didn't want to, but I just had no defense. I had no knowledge. And that's why it's so tough when you're first coming around. You're just kind of on a tightrope. You're just like holding on. And but I didn't want it to continue. But I did that night when I went out. I hadn't seen you in months. And LA's a big city, and I found you. We didn't even have cell phones.
No.
And I found
Which is
you.
crazy.
I found you at Louis' house.
At the suicidal tendency house.
I go, there's probably one place he's at. And there you were. And boy, I walked into just debauchery.
We were drawing on somebody. Me and Louis had markers out, and this dude passed out. And we drew all over him with markers, his eyes open, dicks coming out of his shorts.
His whole body was covered in permanent markers.
It was fucked.
It was terrible.
But I'm going to say something that you said, which is true. Like, we laugh at all these things. We're sitting here laughing. The reason we're laughing, for me, I can't speak for anyone else except for you. I'll speak for you. We fucking survived. And what you said, which is so true, that's when you were wrapping that cord around you and you were going to smash that guy, that's not you.
No. Mm-mm. Somebody else.
Oh, I get so choked up. You get me choked up. Because that's not you.
No.
And when I think about that, when you tell that story, it's a miracle, that you and I are alive. We get to sit here.
Oh, man, we're so
and do this podcast. And you came in a year and a half before me, and you're sober 35 years, and I'm going to be 34 years soon. And all that debauchery that we like to joke and laugh about, we survived. You get to go back, clean it up, make amends, and then have this great sober life,
Oh,
which is a
yeah.
miracle. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Oh, man.
I'll stop crying for a minute.
Crying.
I know, man. I'm fucking.
Why?
I'm such a fucking baby.
No, that was beautiful. Thank you.
With me and you,
I know. I'm the same way.
yeah.
I'm
If
the
you
same
start crying, you won't stop.
That's true. Gosh, when I first started speaking, I was, anyways. Yeah, it's just been incredible, but it's been such a,
Talk about like the incredible,
yeah,
I mean, what a difference.
well, when you
from that
stop
to where you
destroying your
are.
life every single day and you have a crystal clear, sober mind, Ted used to say that. You have
Yeah.
a crystal clear, sober mind, and every single day you're going to make better decisions. Just a little bit better decisions than you were making in the past.
Yeah.
If you don't pick up and use, and you put all those days together, for 35 years, your life just becomes unbelievable.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. And to have a casting company and to be,
The
sober.
daughter who's a lawyer. I mean, a fucking lawyer.
Lawyer.
Doctor. I meant Laura, who's a doctor.
Yeah. Yeah. My daughter's a doctor now. And, I mean, just your wildest dreams, and when you come in and people are trying to help you, they're like, write down your wildest dreams, and I remember I was like, I want a yacht, I want a Ferrari, I want a mansion in Malibu, just so stupid stuff,
Yeah.
but yeah, your life really comes together slowly, over time, and you're just not the same person you were, but again, you have to do some work and figure out what was going on.
Well, and it's the service part because I came in after you and you fucking led the way and you fucking held me close and you made sure I did what you did to stay sober.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, I did. And you were a hard, difficult case. Man.
I know.
I mean,
No, it's true.
but it's because we're emotionally tied to each other. So like when you came in, I was so happy. I was like, oh my gosh, Nick, like think of all the fun we can have if you really get this, And I was, a lot of my, being tough on you was just out of fear. I just didn't want you to blow it, I'd be like, hey man, I'm going to pick you up. We're going to go here. And you'd be like, no, dude, we just did that. Like, let's go to a movie. I didn't sober up to do that every night. I was like, well, dude, you drank every night. And he goes, oh, man. But you tell it great too. You tell the little things that you started to do. And
Well, had me. Here's the thing, you had me being of service. You told me right away, if I want what you have, and if I want what you have, I have to give away what was so freely given to me, which means I got to be of service. And you had me picking up guys and being of service, new guys that were trying to get sober. And that's what I was doing. I was driving around. I was picking up your guys that you were working with and driving around. I'm fucking so angry and resentful going, who are these motherfuckers and why is this my responsibility? And what was slowly happening was I was getting out of myself just a little bit less selfish, just a little bit. Pick up this guy. Now I'm talking. Listen to him.
Yeah.
And my whole life was about what am I going to get? How am I going to get drugs and alcohol? And I got to feed that fucking beast, and the me. We live these selfish, completely disgusted with myself, really inside what's really going on. And you can't, like you said, you got to do the work. I couldn't stand to look at what was really going on in here. I couldn't. And I need the drugs and the alcohol to fucking keep that down, keep it away.
Yeah.
And if that's why I want to get high and not stop, because if I stop, I got to look at it.
Yeah, exactly.
And you taught me, you got to give it away. You got to be of service. And I stopped thinking of myself. And that's the way it is. That's for anybody, I think. I believe.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't, it's a selfish disease, really. It's just designed. And I think it's so great that, founders of that great program were like, hey, you guys got to stop thinking about yourself. You got to help others.
It's the only thing that works.
It's the only thing that's going to work, and they knew how that.
And then you get this fucking incredible life. I mean, you and I said this 30 years ago. We're so fucking nuts and like to have a good time. We're laughing about juvenile shit.
Yeah.
We made a pact that we are not changing that.
That's right.
We're going to fucking laugh. And we've been laughing for almost 34 years together.
Yeah.
Before that, obviously.
Yeah.
But this is the real laugh, the belly laugh.
Yeah.
We get. And we have these incredible lives.
Before that, it was fake laughs. No, it wasn't. I'm just kidding.
It was different.
It was drug influenced laughs.
It was deviant.
Yeah, no, alcohol and drink. Anyways, no, it's true. And yeah, we have a thing. I gotta watch that too, because our thing is like shock humor. Like when we're talking about a scenario, we always go, what's the worst case scenario for something? And we always joke about that.
Yeah.
And I bring that into my, relationship, and I make some gnarly jokes sometimes.
Yeah.
And I just get these looks, and I was like, that's just worst case scenario. That's just Nick and I joking all the time.
Yeah, you save that for me.
Yeah, I know.
'Cause I'll
I
laugh.
gotta watch.
Is that it? Yeah.
That's it?
We're out of time.
Okay, great.
Let me tell you, I don't want to start crying again.
Do it.
Don't look at me.
Right here.
If you look at me, I'm going to start crying because I love you so much.
Look in my soul. Look in my soul.
No. I'm not going to.
Look at my chest hair.
I do. You know that I do.
I know.
More than anything.
I love you too.
Not than my son, obviously, but
Yeah. More than your wife.
more than no, I don't fucking. You know me. I love my fucking wife. My wife's a gift. You helped
I
get
know.
me my wife
I know.
30 years ago.
Fun.
She's my everything.
She is. She's the
My
best.
angel.
She's the best.
She's the best and gave me this great son.
Yeah.
Right? Who's your nephew?
Yep. It's my
And
Miho.
Easy and Jim, we love.
Miho. Yeah, I love those guys.
What a great fucking show, Sean.
I know, that was fun.
That was so much fun.
Yeah, let's do it again.
We're going to do it whenever you want.
All right.
Love you.
Love you, buddy. Thank you.
I love Sean Milliken.
Aloha.